Welcome to Smash Fiction, the podcast where we take two or more trench coat wearing dudes and pit their respective trench coats against each other in a battle of trenchiness, coatiness, or slowly flowing in the cool night breeziness, and see who would win. This week, Harry Dresden versus John Constantine. Before I get started, I just want to say spoiler alert for Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and for Smash Fiction's episodes 4, 12, and 26.
Get moving on those, guys. Listen to them.
For sure.
Seriously. They're good episodes.
In Cambodia, in 1150 AD, two great wizards battled for control over a magical text called the Tome of Eternal Darkness. The Grand Sorcerer Dumbledore was the winner of this battle, and he took his prize back with him to his own time and sealed it away in one of Hogwarts' many hidden chambers, and placed a spell on it to make it sleep for eternity, never to trouble the world again. Unfortunately, when this great wizard died, the spell on the tome was broken, and it once again started reaching out across time and space for one worthy to wield it. The book soon became infatuated with a truly wicked and brilliant man from 17th century Venice by the name of Iago, and it pulled him forward into 21st century England and led him to the secret chamber beneath Hogwarts. No, not that secret chamber, the other one. No, not that one either. Yeah, that's the one. Iago started studying this strange grimoire and gaining mastery of its dark magics in secret, while also paying the bills by teaching a remedial Defense Against the Dark Arts summer class. Iago was eventually exposed for being the dark wizard and all-around nasty fellow that he is by a couple of pesky, meddling, love-struck students, and was forced to flee to London, where he assumed he would be safe to destroy his own mind with the incomprehensible vastness of Mantarok's dark magic in peace. But no! Dumbledore's successor, Headmistress Maleficent, is not planning on letting Iago get away so easily. She has hired two detectives that specialize in the supernatural to track down Iago's hiding place and recover the tome before it can unleash its vast, unfathomable cosmic horrors on our puny, unsuspecting reality.
Oh my god, Smash Fiction continuity strike! Hope you're all caught up.
What have we done?
The first is the duster-wearing, chain-smoking BFF of the personification of Dream itself, himself. He's our favorite tortured occult detective perpetually trapped between heaven and hell. He ages in real time, except when he doesn't. He is always able to turn a phrase. He is always blonde, and he is always British, except when he is none of those things in certain movies that we shall not name. He is feared by men, loved by women, and also sometimes loved by men and feared by women. He is so noir that when he steps into a room, Venetian blinds spontaneously appear on all the windows. He is John, the Hellblazer. Don't pronounce it Constantine, Constantine. The second private eye is the also duster-wearing Chicago native who's been flown in from across the pond. He speaks softly to himself in long tortured monologues and carries a big stick. He quotes Bugs Bunny. He collects Star Wars posters and Mickey Mouse alarm clocks. He is loaded up with so many weapons and magic items that by all means he should be too encumbered to move. He's so noir that whenever he steps into a bar, it immediately becomes filled with cigarette smoke, even though that's now illegal in any bar in America. He is Harry Blackstone Copperfield, Penn and Teller, Siegfried and Roy, the amazing Jonathan. You're a wizard, Harry. Harry Dresden. The two detectives start combing the London streets for clues. Constantine hears that the high-rise tower block that has recently become infested with bone thieves might be a place worth checking out. Dresden meets a strange new musical theater critic who has just moved to town and marks him down as a person of interest. At some point, these two detectives will cross paths, of course, and they'll have to fight for the right to claim the Tome of Eternal Darkness and bring Iago to justice, because that's the way these things always tend to shake out. But which of these two dicks shall rise to the occasion, and which shall crumble? I don't know. My inability to root against Iago makes me unfit to be an advocate this week. That's why I, Colin Mulcairn, will be your ancient and unfathomable evil deity this week. All must submit before my many eyes and mouths and squamous tendrils.
All hail the glow cloud.
Colin Thulu-Fatagan.
Colin Thulu-Fatagan.
Representing Team Constantine are Liz Logan.
I don't have a plan. I'm a kid with an ant farm. This podcast is my ant farm.
And Miles Schneiderman.
I'll kick them in the bullocks and spit on them when they're down, and then I'll be gone back into the darkness, leaving only a nod and a wink and a wisecrack.
Sorry, England.
Yeah, that was, I've actually been told recently that I can't do a fucking British or Cockney accent to save my life, so that'll be all for the evening.
Representing the other guy. And representing Harry Dresden, we have Dan Mulcairn.
Try to understand. Try to understand. Try
try to understand. I'm a magic man.
Oh, wow. And Kit Mulcairn.
Every little thing I do is magic.
Oh, that's awful. You're both awful. To determine who goes first this week, I tasked the advocates with writing a 5-page essay titled Turning into a Dragon, Schmurning into a Dragon. 10 reasons why Miles is wrong and the Wicked Witch totally should have beaten Maleficent. And also why Colin is great and clearly should have won all of his matches ever. The advocates all refused to write their assigned essays and instead expressed their feelings towards me by giving me submissions ranging from crude and insulting limericks to small piles of dryer lint. So, at the last minute, while I bitterly sat in the corner, the advocates drew straws, and Team Harry Dresden will be going first.
I'm going to forego my usual introductory statements in favor of getting right to business. There's no way I can go through every single way that Dresden can defeat Constantine, but I'm going to do my best to get through as much as I possibly can. Harry Dresden wears a lot of different magical hats. He's shown to be able to manipulate the elements, craft magical items, brew potions, set up intricate tracking spells, put up magical veils, and summon all sorts of different magical creatures. Hell, he managed to construct a completely accurate model of Chicago in his basement, which he uses to scry on anywhere in the city. But where he pulls out all the stops and jumps light years ahead of Constantine is when it comes to evocation, the manipulation and direction of energy and force. He's been able to take out an army worth of enemies at once, and can level buildings with his magic. Whether it's fire, wind, lightning, water, ice, earth, or gravity, Dresden is a world champion stuff blower-upper. Physically speaking, Harry Dresden is about 6'9" and makes a point of keeping himself in excellent shape. On top of that, he's the Winter Knight, the chosen champion of the Winter Queen, one of the most powerful beings in the magical world. This means he can channel the power of winter itself into his body, kicking up his physical abilities to beyond Captain America levels. When he pours the power of winter into his spells, they become as incredibly, intensely, irresistibly powerful as winter itself. Harry can use True Sight, or Wizard Sight, which allows him to see through illusions, taking away such an option from Constantine. If he has a second or two, he can focus his hearing to daredevil levels, allowing him to hear heartbeats in nearby rooms. Recently, he has even begun to develop the ability to see into the future. Dresden carries a bunch of magical items, most of which he crafted himself. His staff and his rod direct, enhance, and focus his considerable magical power. His duster is enchanted to be bulletproof and is highly resistant to magical attack. His bracelet can project a magical force field, and he wears multiple magical rings on each finger, each of which stores and can then release huge amounts of kinetic energy and destructive blasts. He later carves this same spell into his staff 77 times. Harry also has a ton of allies who have shown they're willing to risk their lives to help him out. Now, far be it from me to rattle off an extensive list in support of my side,
oh, no,
but
of course not.
His allies include a spirit of intellect who resides in a skull in Dresden's basement, his dog, who is a Chinese foo dog, his half-brother, who's a vampire, a worldwide network of thousands of information-savvy wizards, the Knights of the Cross, each of whom basically wields an Excalibur, a living island that serves as a prison for a bunch of Cthulhus, the King of the Goblins, a Valkyrie, a human crime lord so powerful he was recognized as an independent entity by the supernatural community, the Fairy Queen of the Winter Court, his grandfather, who's a wizard assassin who once killed his mark by pulling a satellite from space onto him, the living embodiment of the totality of human knowledge, an archangel, and I know this is kind of taboo on Smashfic nowadays, but I swear to you it's true.
Don't do it.
No fewer than 2 gods. Odin and Hades, to be exact. Hashtag Danlist, hashtag godlike.
What this means, Your Honor, is that Dresden's allies bring more than enough brains and brawn to facilitate his locating the tome. Constantine's allies consist of some demons that hate him, some human mages, most of which hate him, or are dead and hate him from hell, and a god of merriment? So that's good. Oh, I guess he has one werewolf buddy. That's cute. Dresden has a pack of werewolf buddies, and they play D&D, so you know they cool.
Yeah,
anyway.
That's what playing D&D means.
Constantine is notoriously bad luck for the people around him. Everyone either winds up scarred for life or in hell. So many fucking people go to hell in this comic, it should be titled Constantine, : Everyone winds up in hell, subtitle, don't bother reading. Dresden possesses a degree of creativity and radical thinking that is way beyond anything Constantine is capable of. Dresden is very aware of the ways in which his powers affect the world and can use those side effects to his advantage. He's shown being able to create a magical shield which he can angle in such a way that it reflects attacks back on their attackers. He can use teleportation magic defensively to open a gate in front of an incoming attack, leaving him unharmed. You might say he's thinking with portals. There's even one moment early in the book series where he needs to freeze a large amount of water, so he creates and directs a huge amount of fire straight up in the air away from the water. He knows that the laws of conservation of energy means that the spell will, by necessity, pull heat away from the water, resulting in it freezing. He's so smart and creative, he can literally freeze water with a fire spell. Physics, motherfuckers. One of the things that makes Dresden unique is that he doesn't use his magic as a crutch. He has powerful evocation spells, but he makes sure to keep himself trained in combat and always carries a gun, because for whatever reason, people don't expect wizards to carry guns, so it makes for a great ace in the hole when necessary. He has powerful divination spells, but he keeps his detective skills incredibly sharp. He can summon demons and fairies, but he doesn't forget about turning to normal people when he needs to. And very few wind up dead. He is better than Constantine in every conceivable way, and it's going to be Dresden that walks away with the Tome of Eternal Darkness.
All right. Strong opening arguments from Team Dresden. I had to struggle to keep up with taking notes of all of the shit that he can do.
Dude, this is a battle of the Mary Sues, but we got the Mary Sueiest.
Yeah, you should see our document of notes we have for this one.
You really don't.
Let's see if Constantine can out Mary Sue this Mary. I don't know. I don't have anything clever to say. I'm sorry, guys. Team Constantine, say things.
Oh, Harry. You're a good detective and a better wizard, but you're in Bonnie rubble now, me old son.
Oh, God.
No, okay, I'm sorry. That'll be it. I promise. That'll be it. In the time it takes you to wake up, stumble into your latest case, and get unfortunately involved in the latest political dramas of the Unseelie Court, John Constantine has already solved 3 murders, committed 5 murders, sold his soul to the devil, fought his way through hell to get it back, and passed out drunk with a lover on one side and an empty pack of cigarettes on the other. If this match comes down to a contest of magic, Constantine is going to conjure circles around you, possibly literally, but it probably won't come to that, because before that ever happens, you'll be convinced that old John is just a friendly used book salesman. Purchase a copy of the Sisterhood of Traveling Pants for 3 times what it was worth, and be rendered helpless by the curse it carries. You don't want to know the details of that curse. John Constantine is a highly creative con man.
Is it that your pants just get up and walk away from you?
I said you don't want to know the details. I say highly creative, but what I really mean is the best. He's the best con man, like, on the planet. People have said this. This guy conned his way into a cure for his own lung cancer. How, you ask? Well, he secretly and separately sold his soul to 2 of the 3 lords of hell. Those 2 eventually realized what had happened and saw that when Constantine died, there would have to be a war in hell for ownership of his soul. So the only solution was to cure John's cancer. He's also been in perfect physical condition ever since. Oh, and that 3rd lord of hell? Yeah. That's the first of the fallen, a.k.a. Lucifer, a.k.a. Satan, whatever you want to call him. Constantine tricked him into drinking holy water. He wasn't happy.
So basically what we're working with here is an older, more cynical, less white-haired version of Dante. So what could possibly go wrong, for me at least? Nothing! Constantine is amazing at balancing the influence of heaven and hell over the whole of humanity. He can investigate and manipulate his way out of pretty much anything. Sure, lots of his friends and people close to him may die, but hey, not Constantine. He learns from these experiences and trudges on, constantly evading death and destruction. He's incredibly smart and can even predict future events, like the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan. In terms of his raw magical ability, he could totally go head-to-head with stupid Dumbledore or whatever, finding the stupid Tome of Darkness. Constantine's magical and occult lineage is longer than stupid Dumbledore's stupid beard and stupid ponytail combined. His heritage...
Man, this team is really upset about the turnout for Dumbledore versus Gandalf for some reason.
Colin asking us to write that stupid essay, okay?
So, his heritage can be traced back to mages that were known for tricking gods, so... Sorry, Dresden's god allies. Constantine will just trick him. One of his first spells...
As of right now, both teams are equally disqualified for mentioning God. I
mean, one of Constantine's first spells made his father as weak as Ron Weasley's stupid wand. Constantine is so powerful that his enemies literally want to absorb him. And you want to talk bloodthirsty and doing whatever it takes to get the job done? This bastard strangled his own twin brother with his umbilical cord and then later cut him out of his own soul. Plus, he survived being a punk rocker in the late 70s and early 80s. Can you imagine the amount of cocaine that he had to wade through? Seriously. Damn. And this guy has faked his death so many times and convinced tons of people that he was actually dead, that Dresden will never see it coming, that he's actually still alive, after he tricks him and shoves his face into the dirt and takes the tome. He has even resurrected himself from death, time traveled, and, oh wait, can make his own luck. whether it be through how to fight an opponent better or how to trick them more efficiently.
Dresden is shown to be easily manipulated by just about everyone in his life. You think he'd stand a chance against Constantine? This dude blackmailed God. Sorry, Colin. As in, he sat around a campfire with the Lord Almighty and was like, listen, mate, if I die and go to hell, I'll be running the place faster than you can sit for a shit. All First of the Fallen is in charge down there, and I've got that struggling grunt by the town halls. Once he's pissed off, I'll be on top. And what happens then, Gov, is I let all them demons loose and maybe come for you. So maybe you should get rid of this old demonic taint, yeah? And God was like, yes, maybe I should. And then promptly vanished in a puff of logic. Sorry, wrong book. And I promise that's it. That's actually, that's it this time.
So anyways, Constantine is great at deception and solving mysteries or any kind of situation he finds himself in. It seems that all the time he is constantly told, oh, hey, there's two of you that exist. Either you die and let the nice one live, or you live and everyone dies. Multiple times, he completely escapes this situation, kills the other copy, and gets his way while going under everyone else's noses by pretending to be someone else or manipulating their view of whatever is happening. He's a master of everything occult. He knows spells, telekinesis, reflection magic, necromancy, curses, how to protect himself with sigils, how to resist mind control, and don't forget his stint as a magician where he learned tons of sleight of hand and escapology. He's escaped from bindings like handcuffs and used spells to uncover hidden areas, like when he was seeking the Orb of Horus. He's got his awesome demonic trench coat, demonic and poisonous blood, a healing factor, and proven prowess with defeating enemies via the Smash Fiction motto, both with strength and wits. John Constantine could trick Dresden to believing that Constantine is just trying to help by being there. He would find the tome, grab it, and teleport magically away to where Dresden couldn't hope to follow. He's got incredible split-second decision-making and can get out of the tightest situations. Or get in them.
Oh.
I mean, the only cool thing about Harry Dresden is that he shares half his name with Harry Potter and with a bunch of other stupid people, but who cares? Just compare their tools and equipment. I mean, Dresden has a coat that's got, some protective magic. Constantine's is completely demonic. Dresden may have all sorts of little knickknacks that he needs to cast magic. Well, Constantine only needs his hands. Basically, Constantine could make his own luck by having Dresden forget to take some of his equipment and make sure he is hopelessly unprepared for whatever is about to happen. He's not that great at deception either, or understanding it, so with Constantine, he won't even know what hit him. Dresden doesn't have what it takes, and frankly, that's partly the fault of his community. He gets in trouble for killing someone. I mean, when he's the White Knight, he has to follow those crazy set of rules. Dresden may be strong, especially after he is the Winter Knight, but that doesn't mean he would automatically win in a fight. Let's not forget that Constantine deceived Superman, arguably one of the strongest people in existence, and who can probably bench press way more than 900 pounds, which is Dresden's Winter Knight claim to fame. In the fight, Dresden is going to be stuck wasting time going through his ridiculous bag of holding, trying to find the right item, while Constantine barrels on.
Yeah, Dresden is a very powerful mage, but his powers are blunt and unfocused. It's mainly about shooting fire and lightning and wind and, I guess, ice later on because Winter Knight. But he has no finesse, and he needs artifacts to exercise any control at all. Constantine would probably prefer to finish Dresden off with his own artifacts, like, his swords, the Twin Blade and the Moon Blade, which can kill anything, including Satan, in a single hit. Or maybe, as Liz mentioned, his sentient demonic trenchcoat that strangles people, or the old standby, a swift kick in the buttocks. But if spells are required, well, Constantine can do the elemental stuff too, but his magic has a broader range, including divination, necromancy, summoning demons, animating golems, creating illusions, astral projection, exorcism, occlumancy, invisibility, telepathy, mind control, and even fucking time travel, #DanList. But he specializes in protection magic. Again, Liz mentioned the sigils and the circles of protection, which means all your fireballs or whatever are just gonna bounce off him, and that goes for physical and mental attacks as well. And when Constantine's extreme eldritch abilities combine with his con man nature, that's when he can do things like saving the universe by convincing Darkseid via a massive illusion that the universe was already dead. So, sorry, Harry. Having to go up against Constantine in this fight is just your rotten luck, like every other day of your life. Because Harry Dresden is notorious for his bad luck. It defines him as a character. Meanwhile, Constantine's good luck, his knack for being at the right place, at the right time, and in touch with the right people, is just another form of magic for him. Synchronicity wave traveling, motherfuckers. For the Laughing Magician, this match is just going to be a bit of a bubble.
All right. Well, I challenged you guys with presenting me a Mary Sue on the level of Harry Dresden, and you have done it. It is neck and neck right now, let me tell you. It is going to come down to this rebuttal round. So, Team Dresden, what do you have to say for yourself?
So much.
Oh, yeah, where do we start?
So much. You guys talked a lot about how Constantine could trick Dresden, and that is absurd to the point of just being, like, not even worth mentioning. But I'll mention it.
Don't mention it.
So, first of all... You were talking a lot about the illusions that Constantine can wield and use. Again, Harry has the wizard sight, which allows him to see through all illusions. None of those are going to work on him. Secondly, Harry was raised by a stage magician who taught him everything there is to know about misdirection. And Harry has this sixth sense for when people are trying to bullshit him and lead him around by the nose. He was brought back to life in the fairy realm where everything was sneakily trying to kill him. He had to walk around with his head on a swivel, and he's come back into the mortal world with this sixth sense for danger. There is no way that John Constantine can pull a fast one on him.
I'm sorry, he's got a sixth sense for people bullshitting him when he is constantly being lied to, twisted around, manipulated, and, like, shot in the back and shit?
Example?
When he was shot in the back.
Are you thinking of Changes?
I don't know.
Because in Changes, he was shot in the front by an assassin he had hired to kill himself because he was afraid of what would happen when he became the Winter Knight. Because the only person who can kill Harry Dresden is Harry Dresden, and he then comes back from it. It's like that
small favor, he was shot.
Dude, that guy gets his nose pulled around by all the fucking fairies. The entire Unseelie court just has him at their beck and call, fucking lying and manipulating him.
They are fairies, and it has taught him how to sense bullshit on a supernatural level.
John Constantine is way more manipulative than any fucking fairy.
Well, look,
you say that to a fairy's face.
I will say that to a fairy's face, because, again, best con man on Earth.
All right, you guys made a lot of...
I would say a demon is a scarier version of a fairy, so yeah, we win.
Well, while we're on the subject,
saying get wrecked.
While we're on the subject of demons, there was a long period where Harry ended up possessed by a demon who was trying to first take over his mind and then later to corrupt him and turn him basically to the dark side. And Harry not only resisted being possessed, he not only resisted being turned to the dark side, he turned the demon good. That's the sort of level of willpower that we're talking about with Harry Dresden.
We're friends with Swamp Thing. Fuck you.
Yeah, Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing did like some nasty shit to Constantine that I will not repeat on this
podcast. I want to see
that.
Harry Dresden fight his way out of hell on multiple occasions before I hear anything about his willpower.
He did sneak into the vault of Hades in the underworld. He had to sneak his way first through the traps and then fight his way out through ghouls and demons, which were actively trying to kill him.
Okay.
Yeah, he's done that before.
So that's
demonic trench coat. He could be clothed head to toe in sweet-ass demonic attire. It wouldn't matter. Dresden's leveled many a demon.
Yeah, and also Dresden has fought the Fairy Queen naked on more than one occasion. Ooh. Like, he don't need no trench coat for that.
I'm gonna look up some fan art.
Yeah,
all right,
that's cool. Our guy's bisexual, so in your face.
Remember, our guy tricked God and did all that shit. Dresden follows, like, a strict code of ethics, especially when he's the Winter Knight. I think he would have an issue doing whatever it takes to get the Tome of Darkness, and he would not be able to do all the things that Constantine is willing to do.
Like get his friends killed?
Okay.
Who the fuck cares? This isn't who's the best friend
shit.
competition. This is who's going to win this shit. Who's going to get the Tome of Darkness.
If it's a matter of, like, using your allies and all your resources to find what needs to be found, he doesn't have anywhere near the resources that Dresden does. Because they keep fucking dying or becoming so traumatized they want nothing to do with him.
He is a master of the occult. He has all the resources he needs. He has the fucking House of Mystery that he can go into and, like, do research whenever he fucking wants to. And he knows literally everyone in the city in which this takes place. And
so I kind of mentioned this in passing in my opening arguments, but one of the allies that Dresden has is a being called the Archive, whom he calls Ivy, who is the living embodiment of the collective knowledge of mankind. Dresden can get in contact with her by writing something on any piece of paper, because then what he writes down enters into the body of human knowledge, and she becomes aware of it. That is a much, much better and much more reliable source of information at his fingertips than the House of freaking Mystery, which has mystery in its name. Like, it's designed to be
Okay, well, you know
designed
what?
to be obscure.
That's cool. While he's consulting his archive and, writing things on pieces of paper, Constantine's already going to be moving. Do you know why? Because Constantine already knows about the Tome of Eternal Darkness. Do you think he fucking does? He hangs out with demons and immortals, and you think he doesn't know about the Tome of Eternal Darkness? This motherfucker knows where the Batcave is. Sorry, my apologies. The goddamn Batcave. And how many years did Dresden spend thinking he was the only wizard out there before he finally started finding out about the discount world of darkness setting he lives in? This guy is not in the know, dude. Constantine is going to be banishing Chaturga. Dresden is still going to be playing out the last few days of Elia's life in Cambodia. And that chapter ending is going to fuck him up, by the way. Fuck him right up.
I'm glad that you mentioned demons with regard to the Tome of Eternal Darkness, because the Tome of Eternal Darkness is not connected to demons. It's connected to Lovecraftian entities, which in the Dresden verse are referred to as outsiders. And it turns out that the circumstances around Harry's birth were orchestrated so that Harry would be born with a measure of influence over outsiders. So I think he's going to have actually a much better chance of being able to sense, track down, and influence the Tome of Eternal Darkness and any monsters that come from it or around it.
Please revisit previous point of ours that Constantine is a master of occult. I'm pretty sure Lovecraft falls into that.
Already knows. You know how good Constantine's detective skills are? Seriously, dude. He saw the crisis on Infinite Earths coming.
Well, we should probably, touch on that synchronicity bullshit. Yeah, he has, this slight luck manipulation.
Slight?
Which may... Slight? Well, if it was on all the time, it'd be a pretty lame fucking comic if everything was going his way, and it clearly doesn't. Awful things happen to him, as well as his friends.
No, awful things happen to the people around him, not to him.
Well, if I remember correctly, he got amnesia, and then this demon called Rosacarnis took the opportunity to make 3 demonic babies with him.
You're mixing 2 different stories, I think, but... maybe not. Regardless, one time!
I seem to remember a moment in Justice League Dark when he and Zatanna were being held captive by this demon sorcerer and kept getting killed over and over again and then brought back to life and killed again. My thing with his synchronicity wave is that his life still largely sucks. It doesn't guarantee him victory. It ensures that in the long run he's more likely to survive, but he's very capable of losing individual fights or struggles. And furthermore, as we see in the comic, his luck is a double-edged sword, because the ghost of his unborn twin, which you guys mentioned, was able to use that very power to manipulate Constantine's life.
Until he cut his twin out of his soul.
Yeah, he cut his twin out of his soul, and that's someone who literally shares the fabric of his soul. Dresden does not do that. He does not have that over Constantine.
Constantine might have a shitty life and good luck, but Dresden has a shitty life and shitty luck. So I think we still win that one.
Constantine does not have good luck. I do not want his life. No, thank you.
Closing question for Team Dresden. The one thing that you haven't really touched on that I was curious about is the rules that he is bound to, being the White Knight. What does that entail?
Winter Knight.
There are none. Liz does not know what she's talking about. That is
bullshit.
Yeah, that is bullshit. He has to follow the Queen's laws.
At one point he says the words, "Screw the winter law," and his powers immediately go away and he becomes crippled again.
Well, that was because he was disobeying the Queen's direct orders.
No, it was because the mantle of the Winter Knight is directly tied to obeying the laws of Mab. If he counteracts those laws, he's going to lose all his shit.
Which are directives that she gives him personally. If he turns against those directives, he loses his power.
Dude, there is such a thing as the Winter Law. I saw it on the internet.
In his intro story, when he kills that dude, his community is fucking pissed about it. He's not allowed to do those things.
You're talking about the laws of magic?
Yeah, I actually read a little bit about those too. So what's the deal with the laws of magic as well?
Well, so the laws of magic are just laws. They're not like laws of nature or like laws of physics. They are the laws that the wizards have set out. It's like, you can't kill someone with magic. You can't try to bring someone back from the dead. You can't try to
you can't do all the
mess
fun
around with
things
mind control.
Does he follow these? Does he feel bound to them?
Not really. So he's a warden, which is someone who's been trained to track down other magic users who break the laws of magic. But he has been shown that he's willing to, say, for example, like, use magic lethally against other people. And in fact, for a long time, he had broken the law of magic that said you can't kill someone with magic when he killed his mentor, Justin Dumorn. Long story short, the laws of magic are not immutable. He has broken them before. He prefers not to, and I don't believe he needs to break any in order to defeat Constantine.
He really doesn't.
But I think that if push came to shove, he would.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Thank you. Team Constantine, take it away for some rebuttals.
First of all, I do want to say Constantine has more training and experience than Dresden, and when you guys talked about his allies, he's going to get increasingly unwilling to call on them as this quest gets more and more dangerous. Because Harry Dresden has a martyr complex, y'all. He likes to do shit himself, and he hates putting his friends and loved ones in the way of trouble and to jeopardize their lives. And that goes double for women because he is a sexist fuck. So if there's ever a hint of a woman being in peril, Dresden's going to just forget right about that tome and go bravely forth to rescue the fair maiden, who will probably be a succubus working for Constantine, because Constantine has all kinds of allies, contacts, and connections spread across the globe. And he's
including
not going to...
a succubus.
Yes. And multiple, I believe. And he's not going to hesitate to use any of them because he doesn't give a shit about them. And if you're going to bring in the gods, yeah, sorry, bring in Swamp Thing in the Justice League.
The only succubus I know is Ellie, and she's not on good terms with him.
They are on like kind of weird terms. They get back, they ally and then fight, and then ally and then fight, and then have
their
sex, and then
Facebook
fight.
relationship status is it's complicated.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. That is the best relationship status he has with anyone.
That's true.
You're one to fucking talk, Harry Dresden. I believe your last...
I thought you were saying that to me, and I was like,
Sorry. No, seriously, he doesn't give a crap about any of these people. He uses them without care or regard. He's got the Justice League on his side if he wants to have them. He's got Swamp Thing on his side if he wants to have him, and he has multiple succubi.
Here's the thing. When you care about your allies as much as Harry Dresden honestly does, it's kind of reciprocal. Like, any of his allies would walk through fire for him, and in the case of Jared Kincaid and Karen Murphy, actually literally walk through fire when they had to take on a vampire with a flamethrower, basically on Harry's behalf.
He's gonna leave them behind, though.
God.
Harry's gonna leave them behind?
Yes.
Why is he going to leave them behind?
I thought it's too dangerous for that. He's not gonna leave them behind in America, but as the mission gets more and more dangerous and he learns more and more about the Tome of Eternal Darkness, I mean, trust me, as soon as he starts learning more about what's in that shit, he is going to start telling his friends to leave it alone and let him handle it.
He has dealt with Cthulhu's and shit before.
Yes,
that is the official term.
It's interesting that you brought up his sexism. His chauvinism was an aspect of his character in the early books when he was seen being a gentleman to the point of kind of being an ass to Karen Murphy, his police friend. But the thing about Harry Dresden is he's a character who constantly changes and grows throughout the books. Where he starts off is not where he finishes. By where he is right now, he is very willing to recognize the strength that his allies have and use them when it's necessary. He doesn't rely on them, but he realizes what they can contribute, and he respects them enough to allow them to do so.
I think you are drastically overestimating. Sorry, Liz, go ahead.
To say, Miles, you were right. Dresden's argument does rest on the sisterhood of the traveling pants.
That really
does. Exactly what their argument sounds like. You guys are relying on your allies for your argument. You were talking about some of Dresden's abilities to see through Constantine's bullshit. I don't think he'd be able to, because like soul gazing and his abilities to listen and that, they can be countered with a lot of things. So for example, the soul gaze, he won't be able to use it against Constantine because Constantine is known for having super crazy protection from psychic attacks. It's like his bread and butter. He is able to put up some wall or whatever and block that out. And Dresden's ability to listen where he can hear the heartbeats and whatever Daredevil style, that can be countered too with a veil. And we know Constantine's got all his sigils, all his spells. He could easily whip something up, put up the magic shield.
He used his magic to block off omnipresence.
Liz, you're confusing the soul gaze for the wizard's sight. The soul gaze is where Harry can look into someone's eyes and see their kind of true self. Wizard sight is where he can just see what's really there on a magical level.
Well, and
yes, see the
wizard
episode
sight
of the ice battle if you want to learn more about wizard eyes and how they work.
Very true.
Yeah, you piece of shit.
Is Dresden also just constantly hallucinating things that may or may not be there?
But
Only when
the
he
thing
turns it on.
is his wizard side is said to be kind of underdeveloped. Like, he's still developing that. I don't think that would be good enough to rival whatever Constantine can throw up against him.
And even if it was, like you said, Liz, Constantine's blocks against scrying and anyone trying to figure out where he is are massive.
Well, see, that's where we come to Soulfire. See, Dresden happened to make friends with Archangel Uriel at one point, who granted him the ability to use Soulfire. And basically, Dresden can pour Soulfire into any spell he casts, which Soulfire, by the way, is basically the fires of creation. And when he does so, it kicks his spells up to 11, not only on a power level, but also in terms of, like, precision and control. So he can make his spells do incredible things when he combines them with Soulfire.
See, I would say that would be okay against anyone other than Constantine, but remember, Constantine has experience dealing with angelic things, angelic spells, all that shit. He would have something to counter that.
All this stuff is all totally within his wheelhouse, and he's been doing this a lot longer than Dresden has. As the Winter Knight, which gives him all these abilities, that it also makes him, Dresden, extremely vulnerable to the traditional vulnerabilities of fairy, which are iron and steel. And if Constantine knows anything about fairies, which he fucking does because he's an occult expert, he'll figure out this weakness very quickly. He has iron and steel. He's got lots of magic weapons, including, as I previously mentioned, the Twin Blade and the Moon Blade, which kill anything in one hit, including Satan himself, and which are not made out of iron and steel, but are made out of the remains of the other two Lords of Hell, so, there's that.
Dresden's trench coat alone deflects magic and also physical attacks.
His trench coat alone is going...
Yeah.
No.
I'm just saying, so there's that first barrier, but then there's all the other magical deflection that Dresden can dish out.
Okay.
More powerful than the devil.
One last question. Assuming that Dresden does see through all of the connery and gets into a direct fight with Constantine.
If he sees through Sean Connery?
Yes,
is that what you said?
He sees through Sean Connery. All of the Connerys, not just Sean. And
it's pretty easy to see through Sean Connery these days. He's up and disappeared.
Has Constantine ever been in a direct fight against anyone as powerful as Dresden, where he doesn't have any trickery, just like two dudes in a room throwing shit at each other?
Yeah, he once ripped out a demon's spine with his bare hands, and it took very little effort. And he's also extremely durable. He has just walked out of the room after torture sessions, and as Liz mentioned, he resurrected himself. So yeah, he is very, very adept at hand-to-hand combat.
And he knows how to sword fight.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Iron and steel.
Any last points for anybody? Any last jabs anybody wants to get in?
Actually, I'm sorry. I have one more thing.
So, come on, man.
This is very important. So Alan Moore has said that he based John Constantine on Sting. He was blonde,
appearance,
somewhat effete, he's arty looking. Jim Butcher has said that he based Harry Dresden on Bruce Willis in Die Hard.
Yeah,
brutally determined, impossible to take out. I think I've made my point.
All right, so wait, hold on. Let me continue on that, Dan. So Sting, still super successful, still making pretty good music. Bruce Willis, now making really shitty B-action movies.
It looks like Bruce Willis doesn't have Sting's staying power, which is
really you're right.
sad when you think about it.
Yeah, you're right.
Bruce
Willis
didn't... Anybody? Was that what you were
yeah, Bruce.
Yeah, you got that?
All right, cool.
Bruce Willis didn't make the masterpiece that was the Soul Cages.
Yeah.
Good. Yes.
Also, I'm going to go ahead and choose to believe that when Alan Moore said that, he was talking about the wrestler Sting, which means that he is a supreme badass wielding a fucking baseball bat and beating your face in with it.
I'm divided because when it comes to Bruce Willis, on the one hand, like in terms of recent stuff, you got Looper, which is pretty good. But if you go back far enough, you got Bruno. So
hey, he mentioned Die Hard. Those latest Die Hards are absolute garbage.
Oh, God, yeah, they are.
Okay.
Oh, and the Expendables? Jesus.
Garbage.
All right. Hey guys.
Yes, Colin.
Guess what?
What is it?
Lightning round?
Oh my God, Bruce Willis! No!
Come closer. Turn up the volume on your podcast listening device very loud because I'm going to tell you a secret right now. It's the lightning round!
It's the ASMR round.
With Dresden and Constantine hot on his heels, Iago decides that his only course of action is to ditch the Tome of Eternal Darkness somewhere and flee the country for good. He dips into the first bookshop he sees and throws the Tome of Eternal Darkness onto a random bookshelf. What Iago does not realize is that the shop he has chosen is in fact one of London's friendly local game stores, full of polyhedral dice and Funko Pop figures of Kylo Ren. The Tome of Eternal Darkness is now resting on the back wall of the shop between a copy of the official licensed Duckman RPG Duckmaster's Guide and the limited edition hardcover printing of the Panties of Legend Fiend Folio.
Yes.
The manager of the store, thinking that the tome looks cool, but also realizes that it doesn't have a barcode or an entry in the store's inventory, decides to throw it into the prize bag for whoever gets first place in next week's Magic the Gathering tournament.
Oh my.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We know that your characters are masters of magic, but now the real test begins. Can they also become masters of magic? The format is modern. Your characters have 1 week to prepare a deck. How will you train in the coming week? What kind of deck will you run? What image will be on your deck's sleeves and playmat? As mentioned previously, the format for this tournament will be modern, so please note that as of this recording, Splinter Twin has been recently banned, but Bitter Blossom has been unbanned. So there's that.
Seriously, nobody cares.
All right, Team Dresden went first in the normal round, so Team Constantine will go first right now. Team Constantine, have at it.
I'm going to say black, white, and blue.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I was going to go in a different direction, but go for it.
So first of all, you'd have to have a name going in, your pseudonym. So we'd be called JJ Constant because we consistently perform awesomely all the time by ourselves, JJ Constant. Anyway, so black, white, and blue. Black because he's willing to inflict self-harm on himself to get his way. He resurrects himself after he dies. He kills copies of himself, blah, blah, blah. Blue because he will have that mind trickery, and he'll be able to trick people and fuck with their heads, make them mill their decks a little bit.
Yeah.
And then white because he does also have that mastery over heaven and
that healing factor.
Yes, and can get people to do his bidding when he wants.
I think that's actually way better than my initial thought. So yeah, we'll go with that. Black, white, blue is the John Constantine deck. I think that's a really good choice. In terms of how he would train, I think that he would probably just go to all the top Magic players in London and play against them. And he'd have a lot of tricks up his sleeves. He could invisibly watch how they play. He could, use illusions to make them play in different combinations. He could totally destroy their minds and take their cards, without having to pay for them, shit like that. So he would get all the best cards, all the mythic rares. But yeah, in terms of deck strategy, I'm thinking right now that it would be, a lot of summoning and necromancy. So I think that his deck would work very much along the lines of milling Dresden's deck and then taking the creatures out of his graveyard and putting them onto the battlefield under our control. That seems like a very Constantine thing to do. A lot of counter spells, obviously, and we keep some white around too for the heals and for the occasional awesome artifact.
Oh, and because I want to take this, and so Kit will hate me, but the image on our card, thing at the back of our cards and stuff, it's gonna be Jace because Constantine is Jace, and Jace suffered an identity crisis similar to Constantine with his twin brother that he then cut out of his soul. And yeah, Jace has kind of a fucked up life, and he's really strong and messes with people's minds. So yeah, Jace all the way.
It's Jace, but he's chain smoking.
Yes.
I guarantee you can find that picture somewhere.
Right?
Okay, very well done. Obviously, Team Constantine is going to make it into the finals of this tournament, but how is Dresden going to do? Team Dresden, take it away.
My goodness. Okay, so you remember those werewolves we mentioned to you earlier?
Oh my god, yeah, that's exactly where I was going.
Yeah, so they're called the
Kid,
Alphas.
I knew where you were going.
They're basically a bunch of college students who turn into werewolves, and they're sort of like, the Guardians of Chicago. Okay, so Dresden plays D&D with them on a regular basis. If you read the Dresden Files RPG, which exists for the Fate system, you will see notes in the margins that show that Dresden was involved in designing his own RPG. Dresden and his friends have clearly played Magic.
You know that Magic isn't an RPG, right?
It is when we play it.
Yep.
Yeah, 100% it is when we play it, because we are the nerdiest.
That's fine. I'm just saying that I have a lot of friends who play RPGs, and almost none of them play Magic, and vice versa.
Miles, let's be real here. What
You don't
percentage
have friends.
What percentage? Like, the Venn diagram between RPG players and Magic players is getting pretty darn close to just being a single circle.
No, you're absolutely wrong about that. The culture is not moving in that direction. I will fight you on
Look,
that.
I'm moving on. I hope you will too. Dresden's deck.
I will not.
Dresden's deck is obviously going to be the most superior deck that you can make, which is to say a 5-color deck with
Damn,
extensive
of course
with
you
extensive
would.
because the thing about Dresden,
Maybe Super Friends Turbo Fog?
that's a good idea. But this is what I was thinking. Because in the books you see that Dresden dips into a lot of different areas for his power. You know, we've mentioned that he's a really powerful wizard. He's the Winter Knight. He grabs soul fire from an archangel. When he's possessed by the demon, he's actually able to use hellfire, which is kind of similar to soul fire. He's clearly dipped into pretty much
Jim
every...
Butcher was running out of ideas. And sorry, go ahead.
He's obviously, like, used to dipping into different schools of magic for power. I'm thinking what he's going to do is he's going to set it up so that he ramps extensively for the first maybe 2 or 3 rounds, and then it's just giant dragons, you got worms, you got Eldrazi, you got maybe some siege rhinos, you got some chromats and some progenituses.
Mana
and
problems.
And some children of Alara. He's gonna stomp all over any deck that comes his way, with his sleeves, which of course depict Soren Markov, because Soren wears a trench coat like Dresden does, and he's a vampire like Harry's half-brother is a vampire.
I was gonna say he should have some custom artwork.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What'd you think?
You can do some maybe the werewolves from Innistrad, but they're playing D&D.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously
Like dogs playing poker, but it's werewolves playing D&D.
Exactly.
All right, somebody needs to make that fan art.
Yeah, with Jace chain smoking in the background.
Yeah, that's right.
Great. Mainly, I just wanted to hear you guys talk about magic, because I like magic.
You self-serving judge.
Yep. Hey, you did animals for your lightning round.
I know.
That's a very, very good point.
I will always work in animals if possible.
Yeah, I worked in Rock Band. Liz
Yep.
worked in space.
All right. With that, I'm going to go think about stuff. This is so hard, guys. I really don't know which way I'm going to go on this one. Sometimes I, go off and I'm kind of leaning one way, but I still think about it. But this time, I don't really know. All right, I'll think about it. Talk. Bye.
Did you guys hear that noise, by the way? Because I think that was the noise of all of our subscribers unsubscribing as soon as we started talking in depth about magic.
I hate you guys almost as much as I hate Jim Butcher.
Dude, the Dresden Files is an excellent, excellent book series.
I wouldn't know. I tried to read the first one and could not.
It also gets
Why?
better, is what I will say.
Because
Why
it
was
was
it so
because
bad?
it was shit.
No, I think the first book is good, but I also think that they get they get much better as you go.
A lot
That's
of
my
people
opinion.
have recommended them to me. So.
Well, we're a lot of people did to me too, but I like that we're dealing with 2 characters from properties by authors that are each certifiably insane. So
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes. What a random thing to base on. Yeah, I really want a character that looks like.
Right?
I think what's like
what a
his
weird
look.
story.
Well, Constantine's British, Sting is British, right?
There you go.
Sting's British, right?
He sure is.
Sting's British, isn't he?
Miles. How many more times are you going to break that promise tonight?
So many more.
So that.
But yeah,
I swear, Liz, you're better at the Australian. It just keeps wandering into Australian.
that's what happens with mine too.
Whatever.
I totally agree, by the way, that we just lost everybody when we started talking about magic. Although,
Yeah, we're sorry, you guys. It will never happen again until we use Jace in a match because Kit is one of the hosts of this show, so it's
yeah,
going to
it's
happen.
gonna happen.
But
someday.
the match we're thinking about is Jace versus.
But don't pull back the curtain.
Yeah, let's leave a little mystery.
Yeah.
All right. I never said any of that.
I just used Jace. Shat all over your dreams, Kit.
You can use them. I'll take the
I
sloppy
totally
seconds.
forgot the name. I totally forgot the name of that card that gives you colored mana.
There's a few of them.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of
well,
them.
whatever. I'm not as into magic as you are apparently because I couldn't remember the names of specific cards.
We haven't gotten to play in a long time, but I'm itching to, especially since the new Innistrad set is coming out.
Oh
That
yeah.
was-
Oh,
It looks so beautiful.
you know how much I love my werewolf deck.
Heck yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Have you seen some of the preview cards for it?
We're
It looks...
still talking about that.
Ah, damn! I'm sorry,
Stop
listeners.
it.
I promise.
This
I
is
even
so
promise.
uninteresting.
Ugh.
Stop it.
Wait.
This is not a magic podcast.
Don't some of these people listen to Extraordinary League?
Yeah, it's true.
Yes,
the main
yes.
villain.
I mean,
but
we're fighting
that's-
for Exians.
That is the story element of Magic. When you're just talking about cards and shit, nobody cares.
Right.
See, I always found it the opposite. Like, when I don't give a flying fuck about the fluff in Magic.
See, that's
I
what makes.
really don't.
If it didn't have fluff, I don't give a fuck.
Really? No, it's a fun card game, but I could care less about the little stories they tell in it.
Yeah, card games don't do anything for me on their
I think
own.
that's one of the reasons I don't like Planeswalkers. Like, I do think they're kind of, like, cheap and a lame-ass mechanic, but I also just, like, it's the reason why I didn't like Warcraft 3 as much as Warcraft 2. Is because all of a sudden you went from these, like, faceless minions, RTS style, to, oh, everybody has a fucking name, we're now dealing with all these specific characters, and it, like, kind of took me out of my own imagination and limited my ability to kind of use my own creativity when I was playing the game. So that's kind of how I feel about Planeswalkers.
So interesting. So you would make your own stories about what was happening?
In Magic?
Yeah.
Oh, I have. I have them written down. Would you like to read them?
Heck yes.
That is the cutest, nerdiest thing you said so far, Miles.
Okay, I have a map that I drew out, and each of my decks resides in a different area in the map.
Oh man.
And they have
man.
they have
My
political
God.
alliances. Yeah, no, I
Dude, scan it, upload it to the Facebook page.
Alright.
Game
Do
of
it.
Thrones Magic Edition.
I will totally do that. But I do remember Weatherlight.
Weatherlight was fantastic.
Weatherlight-
That was when I got hooked on
Yeah,
Magic.
me too. That was like the first set that I really got into, and that was like the flying ship with the goblin and the
Heck yeah, man.
I think I started on
I've returned,
Ravnica,
by
the
the
second
way.
Ravnica.
Hello.
No, go away. We're talking about Magic.
But you didn't want to say
I
that
wanna-
because we're still talking about
I
Magic.
want to talk about Magic. Can I talk about Magic with you guys? Can we just do that instead?
So
It's a little late to be changing the format of this podcast, but I
yeah,
guess we
let's just
could.
have a podcast where we just talk about Magic all the time.
So to the no listeners remaining, what is our decision?
Oh, guys. I don't know, man. It's so hard.
Yeah, they are pretty fucking Mary Sue-ish, aren't they?
Here's the thing. I'll just talk through my thought process. It seems like they're both really powerful magically. I think in the list of shit they can do, it seems like Dresden's list is a bit longer. Especially the one that really gets me is like that he knows somebody who knows the sum total of all human knowledge. Like that kind of beats everything. I don't know. It seems like Constantine's big strength is his ability to manipulate people and his sort of lack of moral compass and his willingness to sacrifice his allies and stuff in a way that it doesn't seem like Dresden is. If we accept the fact that their magic ends up being a wash, where they can both do anything and they can both counter anything and they can see through anything, but they can also block people from seeing through anything and all that. If that all cancels out, then I think the edge goes to Constantine just for having more of I think being just a more ruthless and resourceful sort of person, but I don't know that that's the case. I'm honestly still divided and working this out as I'm talking, because I mean, sum total of all human knowledge, man. How do you beat that? Anything anyone knows, you can just figure out. It's tough.
Well, what is this match about? This match is about finding the tome. How do you visualize that
we
happening?
said it's half fighting the tome and it's half a straight fight. I feel like if it really comes down to it, Constantine will be willing to do more shit than Dresden to get stuff done. But I don't know if this situation really calls for it. I don't know if this is really that difficult of a scenario for them. These guys are both way stronger than I thought they would be.
Dude, this is the Tome of Eternal Darkness, man. People
I know,
but people are gonna die.
I know,
People
but
are gonna need to get sacrificed. Sorry.
It's also Iago, and he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So,
Oh, really? I thought
didn't.
Iago was a mastermind.
I thought so
If he's
too.
not
but
trying
then
to
I
break
was,
up relationships, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, no, I
Well,
thought
he's
he
not
was a
gonna
mastermind too, but I was proven wrong.
Let me
in
tell you
that.
one thing. He's not going to break up the relationship between Constantine and Dresden, because that love
definitely
will
not.
never die.
I'm guessing that in the end, it's not going to have to come to the point where Dresden is going to have to kill any of his allies. And I don't think that this is going to necessarily be the sort of scenario where his morality is really going to be tested that much. And because his one weakness that I can gather is kind of that he's not willing to necessarily go all the way all the time.
And easily manipulated.
That's
They say he's
debatable.
not, you say he is. I don't really know where to come down on that. I don't know. I kind of feel like I could go back. If I talk about this for 5 minutes more, I'm going to switch back to the other way. But as of right now, we're out of time. I'm going to say Dresden tonight. I'm sorry. Sorry, team.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
like
man.
I don't know, man.
man.
It's so close. If I think about it for 5 more seconds, I'm going to switch my mind again. I swear.
Man,
No take backs.
I am physically
I
sweating
can't
right now.
believe you just gave another win to Dan. I
I
really
don't
can't
want
believe
to,
you
man.
just
I
did.
really don't want to. But I mean, sum total of all human knowledge.
Colin, if you're on the fence, go against
It
Dan.
became a best friends fight. It
We
became
talked about
traveling hood of the sisterhood of the traveling pants. Jesus.
If I was a little more on the fence, I would go against Dan because I don't want to give Dan more wins. But it's so it's
don't
so
worry,
tough,
guys. I'll start sucking again.
This
It'll
is
happen.
the fairest podcast.
You suck now. It's just that somehow you keep winning, and I don't understand how.
I don't
All right,
know.
let's put a bow on this, y'all.
But then again, Constantine. Thanks everyone for listening to Smash Fiction this week. Next week, Simba versus Shere Khan.
Smash Fiction is produced by Miles Schneiderman, with logo design by Colin Mulcairn.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod for our theme song, which is called Hitman. You can find his work at www.incompetech.com.
You can follow the Smash Fiction Podcast on Twitter at SmashFicPodcast and search for us on Facebook and Tumblr.
Subscribe on iTunes, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight. Constantine would probably prefer to finish Dresden off with his own artifacts, like,
Liz, can you be cool for like 2 seconds?
You done? You let me know. Constantine would probably prefer to finish Dresden off by sucking his cock and licking his balls, but... Oh, I'm sorry, that's not what's written here. Liz, why have you corrupted me?